welcome back, everyone. We have a book club episode today that I'm very excited about. I have with me today Michaela Grinnell, right?
Hello.
Welcome. So we have a really funny story. We met on Facebook.
We did.
Because I bought a book from her on Marketplace, and she lives in Colorado Springs with me. And we just I think I sat on your sidewalk and chatted with you for 10, 15 minutes about books.
I think and then my husband was eventually just like, are you ever coming back inside? I thought you were just selling a book. So
You're selling a book to this random Facebook girl and you got murdered on your sidewalk.
Right. I was like, we're just right outside the house. It's fine. It's fine.
So we've been chatting and keeping in touch, and then I had recently got on Fable, and I've been following what she's reading on Fable and social media and stuff, and we've just been having a good old time together. So
our little book chats or book discussions.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that conversation on here a couple times before of the book community is just exploding right now, and more than it ever was. I don't know how long you've been reading, but
literally I've always loved reading. So let me preface with that. I've always loved reading, but I've just recently gotten back into it as an adult, 2 years ago. So It's pretty new in my adult life. So I'm trying to catch up with all the trendy books and the popular ones, and there's so many out there and they're all so amazing. So it's just hard. When you finish one series, where do you go next? Because there's endless possibilities, which is both wonderful and also a little daunting.
It is. It's overwhelming. And I don't know. It's just interesting because I liked reading in school, but I didn't like being told what to read. So I ended up not doing it a lot. And then in my early 20s, I read Harry Potter for the first time, and then it just spiraled from there. And I've never been without a book since. So it's really interesting to see the book world exploding like it is now, because I don't know, it's so different than it was 15 years ago. So, but I love it. And I'm making really great new connections and friends and things like that. And it's just created, it's I don't know, it's wild. I can't believe what's happening with it right now. So
what's really great, I think, too, about the book community is you can have absolutely nothing else in common with somebody, but as long as you like the same books, you will never run out of something to talk about. There will always be something to talk about, which is so great to me. It's just, and everyone's always so friendly. I've never met a single person that enjoys reading that has not been likable. So
yeah. That's true. Are you in any book clubs?
I'm not. More so, it's not that I wouldn't be in a book club. It's just, I don't think any have presented themselves to me. I have way too many book subscriptions, but no book clubs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody asked me one time, you should be, or my mom, it might have been my mom that was you should be in a book club. And I'm again, though.
They're telling you what to read.
Yes. And I just like to do it on my own time and my own schedule and read what I want to read. And if I have to squeeze in a book for book club on top of it, and what if it's one I don't like? I don't know.
No, I tried to be in a book club with a couple friends of mine. I want to say maybe a year and a half ago. We basically all just kind of got together and talked about what books we had read. And there was one point where we tried to read the same book, but it was just so hard to coordinate, when everybody had the same time off to get together and when we actually wanted to read that coordinated book amongst the other books we were reading. So, it goes back to what you said, it's hard reading what you're supposed to read versus what the vibe tells you to read.
And I feel that probably has its positives too, of it would probably open me up to another genre that I would like, or I would be forced to read a book that I wouldn't normally read, that I might enjoy thoroughly. So I don't know. I haven't jumped on it yet. One of my very good friends is in a book club and she has a really good time. But she said that it's pretty casual. And I feel like I've heard this a lot, that it's really just for a bunch of women to get together. And then sometimes they read the book and sometimes they don't. And they talk about the book for the first 20 minutes and then they just hang out.
Have snacks and drinks and gab to each other. So it's really just an excuse to get out and have some time. But again, it comes down to scheduling when everybody can get together at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So Michaela just read Throne of Glass for the first time ever. And I want to know how you feel.
This may be an unpopular opinion, but in the Sarah J. Maas universe, the way that I would rank the series in order of my favorite would be Crescent City, then Throne of Glass, and then ACOTAR. Throne of Glass, I think I loved it so much because it had so much depth. Not that the other universes didn't. It's just 8 books. That is hard to turn a series into that many books and actually be interesting the whole time. And every time I thought I knew what was happening, I was completely wrong because there would be some kind of twist in there or some underlying thing that I missed, a little detail that I didn't miss or that I missed before. And I actually did the tandem read with Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms, and I really, really enjoyed the tandem read. I know I've heard that Tower of Dawn, some people have said that it was hard to get through and kind of boring, but I think those 2 books doing the tandem read were actually some of my favorite in the series. So I don't know how you feel about those ones, but I loved them.
Yeah. So I actually would rank my Sarah J. Maas world as ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, probably, and then Crescent City. And it's not that I didn't like Crescent City in this, like, I really liked it. It was just so different. Because it was set in the modern day world or whatever. And I actually liked it more than I had heard. A lot of people don't like it. And I did enjoy it more than I thought I would. But I don't know what it is about ACOTAR, but it's still my favorite of the 3. But it did the tandem read as well. And I enjoyed it. And I know a lot of people hate on Chaol, but I really liked that part of his story where he was a kind of a whiny bitch in the beginning but his character grows so much. And I thought it was really cool to get that perspective in that different world and learn, more about just expanding the Throne of Glass world in general. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And, I read there were lots of spoilers on social media before I got to the actual series. Some of it, I came into at least knowing a little bit about certain characters, Elide and Lorcan ended up together, things like that. But the in-depth stuff, thankfully, was not spoiled because I tried to avoid as much of that as possible. But I do agree. Chaol, I feel like I got a little more hate than he deserves.
Yeah.
Was whiny bitch. But I think that he was real. He was relatable. He wasn't like some fiction man that doesn't exist. He's something, that any of us could be. And then maybe that's why people don't like him, because he reminds them too much of reality. And we read to escape to reality. But I really liked Chaol and his I guess, fresh perspective in a romantasy book because he was so relatable. I'm like, oh yeah, I felt like that before. I've lashed out at people for no reason just because I'm having inner turmoil. So I did really like him as a character, but I would have to say Dorian is my favorite MC. I feel like has just such good values, good character. He's not like the typical romantasy main character. He's got depth, and I just really like him as well. I think Sarah J. Maas did a really, really good job with every character in her universe. So I can't really hate on any of them except Nesta. I will probably never like Nesta.
It took me 500 pages to like Nesta and Silver Flames, but that was a lot of pages because I think that book was like 600 and it was most of the book. I hated her.
Oh, much. She's just...
Well, and I didn't like the whole, her acting like no one else has ever struggled like her. Everyone else, look at Elain. She also went through what you went through, and she's not being like you. She was so angry. And I wish that she would have come out of that anger a little bit faster than she did.
It took, I think, entirely too long in that book for her to become more relatable. So by the time it got to that point where we were supposed to change our minds, I was just like, no, fuck you, Nesta. I can't change my mind about you yet. You have some serious redemption to go. I know we're supposed to be talking about Throne of Glass, but
it's fine.
Look at her youngest sister, Feyre. She got thrown into this fairy world, had no idea what she was doing. Before that, she was hunting and trying to provide for her family. And then she's thrown into these undermountain dungeons fighting these Midgard worms. Really, Nesta? You're pissed off about being thrown into a cauldron and being made a beautiful immortal fae?
Right.
Sorry. I would love your problem.
Yeah.
Throw me in the cauldron.
Yeah, and they always talked about how strong she was too, and I feel like if she was as strong as they made her seem, she would have come out of that a lot better, Yeah.
Well, and strength to me too is not projecting your inner feelings on other people, and I feel like that's all she did. The whole series was just throw all of her garbage on everybody. You know,
Yeah.
I met a couple people that were like, oh yeah, she had her redemption. She's like one of my favorite now. She's so strong. I don't know. She's still got some proving to do to me. But in Crescent City, it's getting better, my views on her. But I'm eager to find out what happens with ACOTAR 6 and 7 and how all of it, kind of intermingles with each other.
Yeah, it's what I'm a little bit jealous that you have it all fresh in your mind because I read Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, and Crescent City like a year ago now. And so it's not, and I've read so much since then that like it's not all fresh in my mind. I did just finish listening to the first ACOTAR book.
Well, good a time as any to get back into it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get through that, but I don't think I'll finish them all before the next one comes out. But we don't even know what POV it is. Like, it could be, like, you didn't necessarily, I mean, you kind of needed those first few books for Silver Flames, but it was, like, you could have probably picked up Silver Flames and just gone for it, so.
Yeah, because it wasn't, I agree, like, there wasn't a whole lot that happened in the first books that you needed in Silver Flames. Like, it could be a standalone, but it's it is what it is. I think if anything, it made us like Cassian more.
That is true.
Yeah, and anything, I'm just like, okay, Cassian, of all of the Fae women you could have, you picked this one. All right. He likes bitchy, that's all good.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the theory of Elain and Azriel?
You know what? I have thought a lot about this because, of course, he's in love with Moore, or at least we think he is. And there's this perspective that Elain really isn't mated to Lucien and that she and Azriel will end up together. And I'm kind of wondering how that's all going to play out because in my head, I do honestly think Lucien and Elain would be a really great pair.
I do too.
But Azriel and Elain would also be a great pair because they're both kind of quiet, reserved. They watch a lot. They're not main character energy. I think Azriel is my favorite Bat Boy because of his past and just the fact that he is more reserved and we don't know much about him. So I'm really, really hoping that one of the books focuses more on him. And I personally think if he were to end up with somebody, I'm thinking it's going to be, what was her name? Gwen? Was it Gwen?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've seen some talk that maybe they'll end up together or maybe, oh my gosh, what's the last one's name? Nesta's third friend. I read those ones so long ago.
I know.
Yeah. It was Nesta, Gwen, and whichever one. The one that her wings were basically maimed. So she's got them, can't use them. I think he would really go good with one of those two. But Elain is such a mystery that I cannot tell where that direction is going because we don't know much about Elain either.
Yeah.
She's kind of there and she randomly says things that become important later.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if she is going to be a bigger player in the next upcoming books. I just have no idea if she's going to end up with Azriel or Lucien or nobody or somebody completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I know everybody's jonesing, but I cannot believe that we haven't gotten a title or even a cover for that book.
There's something that comes out really soon. Like, give us something.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
I just want, but I do have some like thoughts that I don't fully trust more. I just feel like there's something maybe off about her. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I just feel like, I don't know. I'll have to reread all of the first ACOTAR books, like actual ACOTAR books, but I never really trusted her in any of the books. And I'm wondering if that is like just a weird, I'm reading too far into something or not enough into something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I also was wondering because there's the whole secret story of her and Lucien's brother, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That they keep saying, like, I think at the end of Silver Flames or whatever, he was like, well, this is her story to tell or something like that. And so we haven't gotten that story of that. And I've wondered if they were mates. Like, and they, I know she's into women, but like.
Maybe she's like trying to like resist her mate pull.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting angle because I feel like we've kind of already established that Lucien's brother is not as bad as we thought he was. Like, he's a secret good guy. So I'm wondering if maybe Moore is a secret bad guy or maybe like something else is going on. Maybe she's being controlled by outside forces and I don't know. But usually in these stories, there's a traitor in the trusted circle somewhere down the line. Not every time, but I'm just wondering if it's going to be more.
Yeah.
Maybe Azriel, maybe that's why everyone thinks that he's in love with Azriel, because he's always watching her. Maybe he just doesn't trust her.
I mean, Sarah J. Maas is very, very good at like starting us off liking a character and then hating that character in the end, and vice versa, hating the character in the beginning and then loving them in the end. So
Good at that.
who knows what she's
How
good.
weird people take that, because I'm just like, my gosh. Because, you know, like the books always talk about how he's always watching more. He's always got his eyes on her. We just assume it's a look of longing, but maybe it's suspicious because he's always in the shadows. He knows more than everybody else knows. So maybe it's sinister. I don't know. But
I'm going to pay attention to that as I re-listen to those.
Yes. You know, I need to do a reread of those too, since I just read, you know, Throne of Glass and Crescent City.
Yeah.
What time, I don't know, but I do need to do a reread, because my goal was to finish the whole universe before the new books came out. So I at least accomplished that.
Yeah. And I'm curious, where did you read Assassin's Blade?
I read it after book 3. So I read it when she was on her way to the Fae Kingdom. And I think that was the perfect spot for me to read it, because it really, I think, drives in the emotional impact of what she actually went through. And there were tidbits in Assassin's Blade that I probably would have missed if I hadn't read the first 3 first. Like when she's, I don't know if you remember this part, but when she's at one of the parties trying to sneak in to get information, she meets Dorian and Chaol. She just doesn't know it's Dorian and Chaol, because they mention, you know, Dorian's ice blue eyes, you know, behind the mask, and Chaol's always there watching him. So I'm like, if I had read that book before the first 3, I would never have known that it was those 2 that she ran into. So it's just like little fun things like that. But I think at that point, it had the most emotional impact. Plus, it's a good breaking point because she leaves the mainland and she's going to the southern continent. So she's, you know, obviously, you know, sailing across the ocean for quite a long time. So in my head, I'm like, okay, during this time, she's reminiscing back on everything that happened. And that's where we come in to read it.
Yeah, I read it at that same time. The only thing that I really struggled with is she has such growth happen in Heir of Fire. And Heir of Fire, I think, was my favorite book of the whole series because of the growth that she went through. And then having to go back to obnoxious teenage Celaena, I was like, okay, this is a rough go. But I really liked reading it there because, I think same thing, like knowing more of the story of Assassin's Blade because of the first 3 books. I think I picked up on a lot more in that versus if if that was your introduction into this world, it's not the best world building because it's already been built when she wrote that book. So.
It's a bunch of short little stories of what happened to her in these little blips of time. So you see, you know, these characters get introduced quickly and you kind of go over them pretty fast. And then you don't see a lot of those characters again until later in the series. So I think if you read it first and then you're going back and you know, meet Yvette with Chaol, you may not remember until it's mentioned later that she was the healer that she sent to be a healer. So it's just, I think it was a good spot. I know there's lots of controversy on where to read it, but I'm really happy with where I read it. I was really tempted to read it first because it had like background info, and I love background info. I struggle with, do I want to know what happened? Do I want the backstory, or do I want to be shocked? So I decided to be shocked and emotionally devastated.
It's almost like a novella than a prequel, right? Like
it is. I think it's kind of like a collection of like many novellas. She just stuck it in one book to make it easier. But yeah, it's like A Court of Frost and Starlight. It's slipped in there for extra information. Does it enhance the story? Well, actually, it enhances the story much more than A Court of Frost and Starlight, because I didn't really see a ton of point to that book. It was a fun read, but not like necessary to the story. This one, it actually gives you like the juicy stuff that happened and makes you realize, you know, why she was so upset about what happened to Sam and how gruesome it was. And because during the first book, just the first one, I kept thinking, maybe Sam's a character that will come back and he wasn't actually dead. And I'm like, oh no, nope, he's dead. There is nothing helping Sam at this point. I'm so sorry, Sam.
Yeah. So you said Dorian was your favorite male. Did you have another favorite female main character that's not Aelin?
You know what? Oh my gosh. Sorry, ignore my brain fog. I should know this because I just read them. The one, the witch with the white hair. Oh my,
Manon.
yes. My gosh. So I like her because similar to Dorian, she stays true to herself and not necessarily what other people expect of her. And she has immense growth through the series as well because, she starts off as this like brainwashed heir, basically, like, oh, I just do what I'm told and I don't ask questions, to being like, what are we doing and why? And is this right? Am I on the right side? Who am I really doing this for? And I really like that she had the strength to defend her second and lash out at her grandmother, knowing that it would result in her death if she wasn't able to get out of there. So I think she has a lot of bravery. She has, she's just true to herself, and it's really hard to like. She's one of those where you kind of start out like, should I hate her because she seems evil? But like, you still can't, because even the way she was written in the beginning, I never disliked her ever.
I did.
Just enjoying like all the horrible things, the taste of blood and killing and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was just the beginning of her, because I kept thinking when they first introduced her, I was like, this girl's obviously going to have a huge role in this, because they wouldn't have introduced her this much if she wasn't. Right. But, until she started to finally stand up and take a stand and make changes, then like, I was just like, are we following this girl because she's a villain, or what is happening?
I was wondering the same thing, but I still liked her vibe. I'm like, she just seems like badass. She takes no shit. She just doesn't care what anybody thinks. She does what she's told. That wasn't maybe one of my favorite things, because she was evil, but she grew so much. And I mean, her and Dorian both, and it's just amazing, like how she ended up twisting all of that around for her to then join the other side and help fight against what she created, because she did create that army. She was in charge of it. So it was a pretty big deal. And I thought it was a really huge turning point. And that's just why I like her so much, because it takes a lot of inner strength to completely turn around everything you've learned for the last 100+ years of being alive. I mean, it's not like she was in her 20s. She was over 100 years old. Big deal.
Yeah, and to then question everything, also, that takes a lot of bravery too. So, but also the most devastating part, I think, of the last book is the 13.
Oh my gosh. I was like, we've come so far. And then they all sacrifice themselves. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, not a single one lives except for her. Like, that is just heartbreaking. I was really upset about that. And I feel like we should have at least kept some of them. Like, the ones we knew the most, her second and her third, and I don't know, the girls that are always sneaking around the shadows. I can't remember everybody's names. There's so many, but
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of characters to keep track of.
There are. Oh my gosh, there are. There's just, Sarah J. Maas does this amazing thing with her stories. They're so in depth. Like, you cannot guess what is going to happen. Maybe some things with like little stuff here and there, but you can't guess the overall picture, because she throws so many things out there. You're like, oh wow, okay, I did not see that coming. I thought, maybe a different clan would sacrifice themselves, not the 13. I just never.
I mean, even the reveal of Celaena being Aelin blew my freaking mind. That was at the end of book 2 or something, and I was like, what?
I actually was kind of wondering that, but not super early. I was starting to wonder that right before it was revealed. I'm like, okay, things that she's doing, like I was like, is this Aelin? I don't know. But it was literally like right before it was revealed. So it's not like I came to some crazy revolution on my own. It was maybe a couple chapters before it was revealed. So I'm not one that like looks super deep into books. I'll see people post their like in depth, like, oh, if you read this one sentence, I think this is what's going to happen. I'm like, I didn't even remember that sentence. Like, I read it for the vibes. There are some things, like, obviously, that I wonder about, like Azriel watching more all the time, but like, I don't deep dive.
No, I don't like to overanalyze it, because then it just becomes no fun to me too, of like, if it doesn't start to make sense, or there are holes in the story, like you said, I'm just there to have a good time. I want to escape reality. and I want to just enjoy myself, and I'm not going to be overly analytical about the foreshadowing, about the writing style. Like, there are very few books that I've read that I didn't.
Yeah. It takes a lot for me to not like a book. There's only been maybe 2 that I just couldn't get through to finish, because I really try to at least finish a book if I start it, but I've decided, why waste your time if you're not into it? If you're a few chapters in, a good quarter of the way through the book, and it's not grabbing your attention, just ditch it, you know? There's so many other books that you can read. My TBR is endless and continues to be endless because of book talk and all the things. You know, people are like, oh, if you enjoyed these books, you'll love these books. And it's never ending, which is amazing. But also, I know there's no way I'm going to read all these books in my lifetime. And it kind of makes me sad, you know?
Because then they keep coming out with more and they keep extending series. Like, have you read Metal Slinger yet?
No, but I do have them.
So that was only supposed to be a duology. She put it was all over her Instagram page when she first announced Lightwielder that it was a duology, and it wasn't until like right before Lightwielder came out, like the week of, that she was like, just kidding, there's going to be another book. And I was like, what?
You know, I feel like some of that is the pressure from the publishing companies.
I agree.
Money. Some books are not meant to be dragged out. I actually really love duologies, because 2 books to me is perfect, because you love book 1 so much, you want more. So you get more from book 2, but then you're not sucked in so long that you're like, oh crap, now I'm committed to like 8 books before I can like read something else, because I like to read them all in a row if I can, so that everything's fresh. But I have a hard time when people try to stretch things out. I read one of the first series I read, again, 2 years ago when I was getting back into this, was ACOTAR, but the other one was Lightlark by Alex Astor.
We talked about that one. I haven't read those yet.
I liked book 1. I mean, if you get around to reading them, I feel personally that her writing style is more young adult, kind of juvenile, just the way she writes. I couldn't help but feeling like I was reading like an inappropriate middle school book. So I'm like, my feelings were mixed. Like the storyline, the basis of the story, I thought was really good. But then it went into book 2, and I'm like, okay, the plot's falling a little bit. And then it was stretched into books 3 and 4. I didn't read those because I was just like, I don't know if I can get into it. So that is one that I stopped midway through the series, because although I liked the world, I loved the world, I loved the idea, I loved the characters, but I just couldn't. I think one of the hard things for me is I couldn't get over her writing style. Then I felt like it was just being dragged out because she was making good money on the first books. So they were just stringing the story along, and there wasn't actually story to it. So I haven't read anything about Starside. I haven't even looked into it all, because it's, by Alex Astor. So I'm just assuming it's going to be the same kind of like juvenile writing, I guess. I mean, it's not horrible, but she's not Sarah J. Maas, that's for sure. She's not Rebecca Yarros. She's not Jasmine Maas, some of my favorite ones. But she's a good introductory young adult. I don't know. I have mixed feelings with her.
I had to start Starside, so that's my next one. And I just recently had a friend tell me it was phenomenal, but she was mad about how it ends apparently on a massive cliffhanger. So she was just mad because she has to wait for the next book now. So
that's what I hate about starting books that aren't in a completed series. Yeah. I know you love Daggermouth just as much as I did, and I cannot wait for book 2. I'm actually probably going to reread that one before.
Oh, I totally will, because I may even reread it 3 times before then.
There are so many plot twists. I'm like, what is happening with this book? Oh my gosh, it was amazing. So I love reading the new books, but then it sucks because then the next one's not out yet. You're just left wanting more and more and more.
Yeah, I knew from the minute I opened that book, I was going to love that book. I don't know what it was. Do you ever get that feeling about books? Like most of the time it's just a standard, like, okay, I have to get into the world. I have to learn these characters. Every once in a while, I have one that I just know from page 1. I'm like, I'm going to love this book. And that one too, Daggermouth, I was like, and this is going to fucking wreck me.
Yeah.
I already know.
This book is going to just make every other book this year hard to read, because it's going to be so good. And it's been true. Thankfully, I have so many other good books I haven't read yet, so I haven't been left in a book slump. I got into this major book slump last year. I just didn't read anything for like 5 months after reading. Oh, what was the first one? The Stars Are Dying. I read
I
book
haven't
one of
read
The
that.
Stars Are Dying, and I don't know if I was in the right mind frame for that one because I had just finished Quicksilver. So it just seemed kind of like the FMC seemed too whiny for me. So I think I just wasn't in the right mindset. It's a trilogy, and I have the Owl Crate editions. They're beautiful, but I haven't read book 2 or 3, and I'm thinking maybe I should give it another try next year after I get through all of these other books I want to read this year. But it's just the feeling of being captured from page one is hard to replicate, and it's hard for authors to do that. I actually felt that way with Shield of Sparrows. Page one, and I have a lot of friends that disagree with me, but page one, I was like, okay, I'm going to like this book. I don't know what it's about, but I'm going to enjoy this book. And I did.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that feeling when you do get it. So but it's not common. It's not like every book I pick up, I'm like, I'm either going to love or hate this. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those feelings. And I will say, I think I just finished Poison Daughter, and that was my 32nd book of the year so far. And Daggermouth still takes it, like, is by far my number one choice at this point.
Have you read Because I Killed Him yet?
No, but it's on my list,
I can't get either, but it's also on my list. The friend that actually referred me to read Daggermouth because she said it was like her top 5-star read of the year. She read Because I Killed Him, and she said equally as good, amazing book. So I have it. I just need to read it. It's free on Kindle. So that's one that's going to be an immediate to be read this year before the end of the year when I'm done with all these series.
I mean, and they're never end. The amount of pre-ordered sequels that I have currently, my husband is going to die come fall because the amount of. Now, I actually was not super angry when they put off the next Quicksilver book because I was like, all right, one less one that's going to come in the mail this year.
Well, oh gosh, my husband is the same way. We both work from home, which is unfortunate sometimes because he knows every book delivery I get. And he's like, more books? I'm like, okay, when are you just going to stop asking me? You've seen my books. They're always going to come. I have told him, I'm like, I will always be buying and selling books. I will always be buying new books. I will sell the old books to make room for the ones I like better. It's a never ending cycle. This will never stop.
Yeah. Yeah, become a problem. And I love the pretty books. And I think you do too.
I have too many of the pretty books. Actually, I have a box that I need to sell to make room on my shelves. They're in a box because I made the room for the new ones, and now it's full again. So I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I gotta figure something out.
I know, it's a never-ending problem, but I'm secretly hoping that I didn't pre-order as many as I think I did, and that maybe, like, they're at least spread out for, like, because I know I have several, like, for next year, you know, like the third Shield of Sparrows book next year. Now they've pushed Quicksilver off to next year. There's and then the Star Side was supposed to, that one, Storm Side, I think it's called, was supposed to come out this fall, and they pushed that to next spring. So I'm hoping that I've put it off, but let's talk for a minute about subscriptions because you and I have been talking about that a lot, and I think it would be fun to pick your brain a little bit more on that. So there's so many popping up on my Instagram advertisements now. I did give into a L'Oreal because when I look at all of their books online, I like their style of the pretty books. I've also done, no, those aren't subscriptions. But anyways, tell me, because you seem to know a lot of them. So tell me which ones you have and what's your favorites and why you like them and things like that.
So I have too many. I've recently had to cancel some just to like chill out a little bit. But I've had Owl Crate, I've had Goldsboro Books, The Broken Binding, Lilac Library, Fairy Loot, Allurial, and Book of the Month. I think. Oh, and I've also had Bookish and Spice Australia books. I would say that my favorite all time would be The Broken Binding. I will never cancel that subscription. I have the fantasy subscription and the sci-fi fantasy. I actually just got my fantasy book today, and I got my sci-fi fantasy book yesterday or 2 days ago.
And why do you like that one?
So I love The Broken Binding because they are different. They don't do the mainstream books that everybody else is doing. Actually, let me grab the two I just got, if you don't mind.
No, not at all. Go ahead.
Okay. So both of these books are ones that I have not heard of yet before. So this was from the Sci-Fi Fantasy subscription box for the Broken Binding. Okay. So it is The Infinite State. They have really amazing quality. So let me take the dust jacket off of this book. You can see the hardcover itself, just gorgeous. Okay. The edge, and then it has really pretty end papers.
Yeah, that's really pretty.
And what's really common with most subscriptions is they do get their books signed.
Okay, that's cool. I feel like a lot, or at least the Illyrio ones that I've gotten so far have not been signed.
No, I don't think they do any of their editions signed, but they do the matching bookmarks with the main book that you pick, like that. But this one, I'm excited to read it because it sounds kind of like, it's like the fall of an empire. Like, how do we fix it? It kind of looks, like, you look at this, kind of like a super, like, in the future Star Wars almost.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. And I think one of my favorite things about the Broken Binding is that they do series that aren't mainstreamed by everybody else, but they're really good authors. So the stories themselves are really, really amazing and they hold their value. I have never seen anybody have a problem trying to resell a Broken Binding book. This was
book good then that you've read?
The books that I have read from them are good, yes. I just got these ones, so I haven't read these yet. This one just came in the mail today for my fantasy subscription.
Okay.
Think
that looks like a fat one.
This is called Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I have heard nothing about this book. So this is
so big.
Yeah, look at this thing. It is thick. But and again, they've got the really pretty like hardcover designs, you know, and the end papers.
Oh yeah, so pretty.
And so I feel like their quality of the books that they pick. This one is not signed, but it is a first edition, first print. So that's really nice. They do books that I think are, how do I describe this? It's like the epic level of like the Mistborn trilogy and how amazing that one is. And like the more like in-depth reads, which is what I really like about their subscription. So it's not something that you're going to get from Fairy Loot. Because a lot of times with having multiple subscriptions, I actually recently canceled Owl Crate because a lot of times Fairy Loot and Owl Crate will do the same books each month. So you have multiples of the same book, which I don't have a problem with. I have multiple books, the same book from different places. And I think that's one of my biggest problems because so many people make pretty editions. But the Broken Binding, I feel like, is different because they're more of like epic fantasy, high fantasy, like science fiction, kind of like you get more in depth, more of a story versus just kind of like streamlined stuff, like what's popular now. The ones that they pick, they have people that actually do like real, like in-depth research of what is going to be a book that our readers are going to love. And I appreciate that about them so much.
Rather than just doing the popular ones.
Right. Like, oh, we're going to put this one out because that's what everyone else is doing. This is what it's going to be projected to be popular. And they will make some of the popular books. Like, I'm not saying that they don't, but the subscription books are definitely like pretty exclusive to the Broken Binding. I don't think I've seen them on other sites yet, but of course I don't know about every subscription out there. I've had my Fairy Loot one for a while now, and I've struggled with that one because I do love the editions and I love the early access, but it is really hard lately to resell those, even just for cost. So, you know, I'm trying to resell some of my books to make space for new ones. Even just trying to get cost from them, people don't want to buy them unless it's something like When the Moon Hatched, right? Like the really popular ones. I will still keep that though, because I enjoy the early access for all the other editions that I have. And then Goldsboro Books, they're also a UK-based bookshop. I guess in the UK it would be equivalent to like Barnes and Noble.
I think I have a couple pre-orders with them. I've done Waterstones too. I ordered the Poison Daughter Waterstones edition because it's really freaking pretty. So I have that one coming at the end of this month. But
the Waterstones, your mouth.
Yeah, I think I got I can't remember if it was the Fairy Loot or the Lilac Library of the Daggermouth one.
Daggermouth, I have Waterstones, the Fairy Loot pre-order, I think the Owl Crate pre-order, the indie print. I have too many. That's just one of the examples of all the books that I collect. It's a problem. Don't even ask me how many editions of Fourth Wing and Quicksilver I have because it's embarrassing.
I haven't fully embarked on the dual books yet. Daggermouth is going to be just because I loved it so much. I was like, okay, I want a couple more of these special editions. But I remember you and I were talking about that when we first met. And I was like, man, I haven't done that yet. And then shortly after that, I did the Daggermouth, and I was like, I'm heading towards Michaela's level.
Yeah, it'll be dangerous. If you have you read The Villains of Lore yet by Jasmine Mass? It's The Blood of Hercules and The Bonds of Hercules.
Oh, heard of them. They are on my TBR list.
They are probably one of my favorite series ever. The FMC is just so like real. I love her. She's hilarious. I won't spoil anything for you. I have too many copies of that book.
They're really pretty too, though.
They are. If we had time, I would just show you all of my books. Like, they're so gorgeous. I think I have 7 or 8 sets of just those 2 books, but they're all from different places and they all look so different. So it's really hard for me to let go of some of them. So I'm like, okay, well, I love these. Should I keep them? So another reason why I have a whole box of books that I'm trying to sell, because I'd rather keep books that I've read and loved versus like, okay, I got this in a subscription box. Haven't read it yet. Don't know if I'll love it. I guess we can.
Yeah. I mean, the 2 that what did I order them from? I'm going to have to look at my emails. Have you seen that Half City, the Half City one?
I have Half City from Illyrial and I have it from Fairy Loot, I think. I have 2 of those. And then I have the sequel coming from Illyrial as well, I believe.
I think I did get the sequel, but I think I ordered the set. Wasn't it that one? Maybe it was something else. I thought I had ordered the set. Now I can't find it in my email.
I have to put like labels for where my emails are organized because I get so
Well, and now that I've pre-ordered so many, I have some because Barnes & Noble just did a thing recently. Was it Prime Day or something like that, where they were like, pre-orders were like 20% off or something like that. So I did a bunch of sequels there. I have a bunch on Amazon. And then I've got Waterstones and Goldsboro. And I'm like...
What I pro though is those ones are usually signed and numbered, which obviously
Waterstones and that one?
Goldsboro. I don't know if Waterstones does that, but I know Goldsboro books, most of their books, actually, I think all of them in the subscription boxes are signed and numbered, which is kind of special because, you know, there's only so many copies of the book that you have.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then I have the Lilac Library, which I love that subscription too, mostly because it's quarterly. So I don't have to worry about my husband bringing packages in as often from them. Wait list for like over a year to get on there. So I love that and the early access that it got me for like Quicksilver and Brimstone. Actually, it led me to read one of my favorite whimsical books this year, Hopeless Necromantic. It is such a cute read. Book 2 is coming out next spring, I think, spring of 2027. It's about a necromancer whose best friend is his dead brother-in-law, and he has to save his kingdom by fighting his best friend, who is also a necromancer. And it sounds like kind of like a dark story, but it is actually very like a light, fun, like whimsical read. I loved it. And I would never have even thought about reading it if it hadn't come in my Lilac Library subscription box. So another one I will keep just because it took me so long to get. And the books that I have read that they've sent me have all been amazing.
Now,
there aren't ones that you see in all the other boxes either. I think they try to be a little bit more unique with their picks.
And on all of these, like I know with L'Oreal and Lilac Library, you can skip if you want to. Can you do that on all of them?
Yes. So the Broken Binding gives you skips. I can't remember how many because I haven't had to skip it all this year, but that's what was also really great about them. If you join like the groups on Facebook, you can save yourself a skip because you can just post like, okay, I've got my subscription coming in. This is the book that it's going to be. Does anybody want it before I skip? And people will buy them. So you don't have to use their skips. But yes, you do get skips. And Fairy Loot, I think they have skips. They've got to have skips. I've just never actually.
Most of these have skips.
Most of them, they're not all unlimited, but most of them do offer at least a certain amount of skips. You know, if it's a yearly subscription, I think you get anywhere between 3 and 6. It just depends on the company that you're with. And then Illyrial, it's just month to month. If you don't like their picks for that month, you don't have to get any. But I have noticed with them, their value holds pretty well as well. There's actually a Facebook group that I'm part of for Illyrial, like trades and things. So people will post on there all the time, and the price is capped at like $30. So you know you're not going to be like way overpaying because you want one of these books. Whereas if you were to like eBay to get one of them. People charge like 150 or more. It just depends on the book. So that's why I like about Illyrial. That'll be a hard one for me to get rid of if I ever decide to, because I do really enjoy their picks. And I don't know how far you are into your membership with that one, but I'm at the point where like they let me put a vote in for what I'd like to see for upcoming months. So I just got to vote on, I think, November books. They give you like 7 or 8 to pick from, and you just rank them from like number 1 to 8 on what you'd most like. And then they take all that into consideration when they actually make their picks. And I just think it's really great. Their books are good quality, and they've always been pretty. I haven't hated any of them. I actually signed up last October when they had Anathema out.
I'm so bummed. When I've looked back on some of their other books, there's so many that are sold out that I would totally add to my box if they were available.
Well, you know what? I think I've got some of my stuff, so I'll send you a list of ones and see if you want any of them.
Okay.
But I'm like, I need to get rid of some. But I joined when they had Anathema out for last October, because I just was like, oh, I've never heard of this book coming before. This book is so pretty. So thankfully, I've got Eldritch coming in my sequel, I think September. I think that's when that one comes. And then they let you do the voting for the sequels. So you can commit yourself to certain sequels if you have the first books already. And another reason why that trade group is so great, because if you want the second book, but you don't have the first book, you can try to buy or trade from somebody else in the group to get the book you want. May take a while, especially with the more popular one.
To that group, please.
Yeah, I will. It's really, really great. I love it because you're not going to be like scammed out of your books or anything. Everybody I've dealt with so far has been really nice.
And to just be able to trade the books that you want. Like this month for Illyrial, I did miss out on the book that I probably would have liked to have gotten, but...
Which one?
I just actually... So I had originally skipped this month, and then I ended up emailing them and being like, can I actually unskip? So I was gonna skip. So I wanted The Dark in Her Veins, but then I did Steelborn instead, which I think is gonna be fine.
This one is what you want.
Yeah. So
I have 2.
You have 2?
Want the second one?
Why do you have 2?
Because I'm on the group, I've had a membership so long, so it's basically like, oh, if you invite a friend, they get a book for $9.99, a free book. So I invited myself to my other email, got this book, and then I was like, oh, okay, well, this one looks really good. I guess I'll just pick this for my like new book, even though I already got it. So I have it with the old bookmark too.
Okay.
So I have 2.
Well, you're gonna have to send me your list, but I also don't want to totally inundate myself with more. Because I mean, here, I'll lift you guys up. Down there, the bin down there is my TBR right now. And then there's so many more I have on my Kindle that I don't have the physical books for. So
yeah. Well, my husband was under the delusion that when he got me a Kindle, that would stop me from buying books. I don't know why he thought that, but I was like, no, now I need the shelf trophies. So at least it saves me from reading my pretty copies, but I'm not going to stop buying them.
I think that had they not started coming out with pretty books, I think I would still be doing mostly Kindles and then getting the books when they are I don't know, as the shelf trophy, you know, but now they have the pretty books and then I can't help myself because they're so pretty. I have been trying really hard because I've got like all my Sarah J. Maas ones that are just like the regular books, because that was really before I knew about all the special editions and things like that. Fourth Wing at some point, I think I'm going to wait until it's done before I like buy some type of full set special edition, because I love, that's another series that's one of my absolute favorites, and I would like a really nice set of those as well. So, but I'm like, if I do it now, then what if they don't match later and all those things? So
that's what I'm struggling with. I have the original Sarah J. Maas paperbacks for ACOTAR, and I keep those because bookshelf aesthetics. Every reader, you can see those on their shelf. So I will keep those. I see them in your background. I don't know if you can see.
Oh yeah, I see yours. I'm missing book 1, but only because it's inside my house because I was rereading and re-listening. So.
Yes. Well, and then I don't know if you can see, but I've got the regulars, the dark, like midnight editions from Barnes & Noble. And then like way in the corner over on this side, I've got the Valerius editions from Acrylopix, which are beautiful.
They are beautiful.
Book 6 and 7. I'm like, okay, well, I
know.
I have an incomplete set. So that is the part with collecting books that aren't finished. And Fourth Wing, this entire shelf is all Fourth Wing books from. I've got the German edition, the French edition, the bookish box, heirloom books. What else do I have? I don't know, a lot, too many. They're beautiful, but now I'm like, great, now she's coming out with that like novella and then eventually another book. So I'm like, what am I going to do with all of these?
Yeah.
For my shelves or something.
Yeah.
But
okay, so let's real quick go over. You are reading Mistborn.
Yeah.
And you read the first 3 already. And then what is the one you're reading? Are you just like diving into the whole Brandon Sanderson universe, or are you going to do all the Mistborn books and then do all the other series as well?
So I've been doing a lot of like research on which order to read Brandon Sanderson's books. And there's a lot of debate, of course, because everybody's going to have different opinions. I think it's called the Cosmere universe. It's like 3 different series, I think. So similar to the S.J. Maas universe. I finished the Mistborn trilogy, which, oh my gosh, blew my mind. That is, like, I think, God tier epic fantasy for me.
Okay. I do not love slow world building. That is an unpopular opinion, I think, in the fantasy world. And Brandon Sanderson is like known for that, right? Like, I think that's why I struggled with Throne of Glass over Fourth Wing and things like that, because I want to just like, I want to get into it and I want to learn as I go. I thought this magic system in Mistborn was so complicated. I was having... And the way that he introduces it, where, like, I'll never forget the very beginning of the first book, where Kelsier starts battling people, right? And we barely know anything about this magic system yet. And it's like this whole detailed fight scene where I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Like, what is going on with these things being coins and shit? Like, what is happening? What is
the metals? And we're burning metals. What the fuck does that mean?
I will agree with the world building. It does take a lot, because even all the way through book 3, you're still learning things. Like, you're still finding things out. And maybe that's why I liked it so much, because I had just gotten off of reading like a ton of like romantasy, like smut books, which is like straight to the point kind of thing. So I was like, oh, this is like a nice like change of pace. To me, it kind of it reminded me of like Lord of the Rings series. Like, that universe is endless. Like, there's so many things you could learn about it and still never be done. And I think that's what Brandon Sanderson reminds me of, is this universe could go on forever. And I thought I had the ending pegged. I really did this time. And no. Like, what the I was like, Dazed? Really? Okay. I guess I should have seen it though. Like, the clues were there when you look back. But there is a lot of world building. I will 100% agree with that. I ended up finding there's a big debate on which order to read them all. I ended up going with like this flow chart that I found, and I can always send it to you if you want. But it's like, okay, everyone agreed that you start with Mistborn first. Okay. And then there are debates on what to get into next, whether you read like Elantris or Warbreaker or the Stormlight series. I decided to go with Warbreaker. Based on more of the forums that I read and things that I looked into, it was kind of the direction most people went. So now I'm on Warbreaker. I think I'm almost halfway through, and it is a completely different system from Mistborn. So, I mean, obviously it's a whole, I think this one's a standalone.
Okay.
The like religious system that they have and like the deities and like, it's all very, very different from Mistborn. So I'm forgetting almost that it's part of the same universe, even the same author, because I'm like, oh wait, yeah, this is all kind of going to tie together somehow, some way down the line. Very different though, but it is very similar as to like, you just get into the action and you don't actually know the why yet, or the explanations to certain things, or how things go, which I think is why I broke it up with the Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. So I needed something a little lighter, a little quicker. Sure. To break that up, and I'll probably do that frequently with some of my other reads.
Well,
but
and
it's just kind of maps you like, okay, you start here, and are you ready for another series yet? No? Okay, go to this book. Have you read this book? Okay, go back to this book. So it's just kind of, there's no right or wrong way to read them. It's just kind of a guide to be like, what are your vibes? Oh, how heavy do you want to get to this right now? I am enjoying Warbreaker, but it is nothing like Mistborn. So I will tell you that. Nothing like it whatsoever.
Yeah, one of my friends says her favorite series ever is the Stormlight Archives. So
a lot of people.
I think I will do that one next at some point, but those books are massive.
They're probably like I don't know. I'm guessing they're probably like this big each.
I mean, I think they start smaller, but they do get bigger and bigger. And I'm just like not sure I'm ready to commit to that yet. So, because I'm also very OCD when I read. You know, I may throw like a one-off in between or something, but I am like, I want to read it consecutively all the way through.
You want the information like fresh, you know, like if I'm going to break it up with a different book, I'm not going to break it up with a book in a different series. It's going to be like a standalone or something like that, you know? And I think that's what took me so long to finally read Throne of Glass is because it's 8 books.
Right.
And then those 8 books, you jump into Crescent City, which is 3 books, but 3 very thick books.
Yeah.
It's not a small task. And I think because I had them on my shelf for years and I just kept looking at them. I'm like, oh man, I have to eventually read these, but it's just such a daunting thing. And then there's also that feeling of like, once I read these, I can't read them again for the first time. So like, am I ready for that? So there's just so much to being a reader. I think that people that don't read don't realize because they're like, oh, you just read books for fun. It's no, there is a method. There's a right way to do it. You got to consider vibes. You got to consider like how emotionally taxing is this book going to be? Like, am I going to be so devastated afterwards that nothing else is good enough? Like, it's just so many things you have to think about that you didn't really realize until you actually start reading, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So what is it?
It has changed. So when I first got into the reading world, I was a hardcore, like, if you listen to audiobooks, you're not reading. Like, I don't accept that as reading a book. It's just not okay. But now, over the last couple of years, actually, it started with Harry Potter. I was listening to Harry Potter on Audible about this time, a little later in the year, this time last year. So I was going up and down, like back and forth to Denver every single day for 3 months. So I needed something to like listen to other than just music. So I actually used my friend's Audible and listened to all the Harry Potter books. And I was like, you know what? I actually don't mind this. But I didn't start really listening to them. I was just kind of like, okay, this is like an in the car thing, like sometimes. And then I decided to repaint and redo my office. So I decided to play Lord of the Rings books on Audible so I'd have something to listen to in the background. The more I did it, I was like, okay, you know what? It's kind of nice having somebody read the book to me. I will admit though, let me fast forward. I'm a fan now. I love audiobooks. But I am still very picky about them because if I don't like the author's voice or the narrator's voice, I can't listen to the book. I think the series that really got me hooked on Audible books or audiobooks in general is Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is obviously blowing up right now. Jeff Hayes did an amazing job narrating those. That is one series that I would recommend not reading and listening to instead. It would not normally say that. Most books, I would say, you know, it's fine, whatever, as long as you get the information. But with Dungeon Crawler Carl, I really think the experience is ruined if you don't listen to the narration by Jeff Hayes. And I will die on that hill. But before this year, I was like a strict audiobooks don't count. And now I just don't know how I'd find time to read if I didn't use audiobooks from time to time.
I get what people say in that, and I absolutely agree that, like, I have a different experience when I read the full book. Like, I just finished The Poisoned Daughter. The audiobook is not out. It is not an option, so I had to read it. And I do think I had a different experience with it because when you're reading it, that is your main focus. Everything's right there. But I gotta tell you, there's so many books I want to read that I will never, ever, ever get through them all because I can't just sit.
No way.
And I'm a slow reader. I'm not one of those people that can read an entire book in an afternoon. And so like I can't just sit around and read all the time. I gotta do house chores. I gotta walk my dog. I've gotta and
to do and a life to live. It's hard to just sit and read. And I think that's kind of what eventually pushed me over to liking audiobooks more because once I get off work, I don't have a ton of time. You know, there's house chores, there's homework and dinner and things like that you have to do. But by the time I'm actually able to sit down, it's like super late and I get tired, you know? So like I'll read like a chapter or two. I'm like, it's going to take me a million years to read these books that I want to read. Yeah. So once I'm listening to audiobooks, I do it mostly while I'm working. Since I work from home, but I do find myself rewinding frequently.
Yes.
I will miss something. I'm like, wait, what just happened? And then I'll have to like go back. But it is easier to do that because then you're still just listening. It's not like, okay, let me reread this paragraph 5 million times, and it's nice because you can pick the speed it reads to you. So it's not like super slow or anything like that. I'm one of those insane people. I used to listen to audiobooks on like 1.3 speed because I was like, oh, it's like normal, but like a little quicker. Now I listen to 1.7 or
I did
1.6.
too.
Yeah, I'm slowly like going up because I'm like, now that I'm used to it, it sounds like normal speech to me. I'll be at 2 probably before the end of this month. But yeah, I like that you can get through more books, but I do still enjoy like the physical reading of a book or a version because I retain it better. I feel like I pay attention to the details more. It's a different experience listening to it versus taking it in yourself and picturing what these people sound like in your head versus like some other person making them for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
and I have to start with a fantasy. If I'm starting a new fantasy series, I have to read like the first half of the first book before I can start listening because I just get confused as hell on what's going on. So,
world building and who the characters are, it can be a lot. Like I read all of Throne of Glass up until I want to say halfway through my tandem read with Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms. Physically read the books, and then I was like, this is going to take me forever. So I switched to audiobook for the last half of my tandem read and then Kingdom of Ash. But I think that was okay because I read all the other books before that. So I remembered a lot of other things that I probably would have forgotten if I did the audiobooks, if I'm being honest.
yeah. So, what has been your favorite book of the year so far?
That is a really tough one. I mean, my default is just to say Daggermouth because it was just so incredible. And trying to think about a book that tops that, I don't think I can. And I feel like, actually, that one, and I would, gosh, I don't know. That's a really hard question. I've read some really amazing books this year, so it's hard to pick a single one. But if I had to just single one out, I think I would have to go with Daggermouth because just the way that it was written, the plot twists and like the world building, it just is unique, which is hard to do for this kind of book. I feel like with it being like a romantasy, smut, dystopian, whatever, it's been done before, but she did it in such a unique way that it just leaves an impact. So I would have to say that one as of so far this year.
Yeah. Which at the time of recording, this is August. I mean, it's probably going to come out not too far after this, but yeah, we're over halfway through the year. So you've read a lot.
Yes, I've read 50 books this year so far.
Yeah, see, I thought I was doing good with my 32.
That is still good. I just finished my 50th book yesterday.
What do you want to do it on Daggermouth since that's your favorite book of the year?
Yeah, I read it at the beginning. So if my memory's a little fuzzy, give me some grace. There's something that happened, but yes, let's do Daggermouth.
Okay, rated out of 10.
10.
Would you reread it?
Yes.
Audio or physical?
Physical because I don't know what the audio sounds like.
The audio just came out and I actually did get it on my Audible just because I'm like, I love it. I know the story. That could be fun to do. I think there's a couple different voices. So
maybe try that one for my reread before the second book then.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good little thing.
Yeah, so this one's going to be harder since it's been a minute, but favorite quote?
Oh gosh. Trying to single out one single quote from that. I don't know if I can remember one.
The main one that stands out in my mind is Jameson fucking Vine.
That is a good one. We'll go with that. Love it.
I mean, it's the only one that sticks out, like that's super noticeable, I think, because, he walks into that room and he's like, Jameson fucking Vine.
I love that. Good one.
One word review.
One word review?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
I like that one. Who would you recommend it to?
Everyone. I would recommend everyone. If you enjoy reading, you will enjoy this book. Obviously 18 and up.
Very.
But everyone reading 18 and older will like this book.
Actually, so I've been trying to get my husband to read some of these spicy books so that he understands that I'm not literally just reading porn. I mean, obviously there's some
story behind.
Yeah, like I think he would like Fourth Wing because he likes dragons and fantasy and all of that stuff. And and I actually
not into it. You can just skip over it. Yeah. Just skip chapter or whatever.
Yeah, so I told him I thought he would like Daggermouth. I'm like, you should give it a try because it really doesn't get spicy. I mean, there's spice, but not till the end.
Right. So it's like you can read the entire book. It just It's in my mind, the buildup is just like watching any movie where there's sexual tension between the two main characters, and so if you don't enjoy the spice part, just skip the couple of scenes where it happens because it's not smut filled, and I think that's why it was, yes, it was in there, but it wasn't the whole story. Actually, it was a very small piece of the story. The story would have been amazing even without it.
Yeah. I'm sure the next one will have more because they always do, but this one was
Book
good.
2 usually, or once they've gotten past the initial "I hate you," we're enemy state.
Yeah. All right, so last one is, after reading Daggermouth, what book should readers pick up next?
Oh, well, based on my friend's review, Because I Killed Him would be a very good one to read. But what did I read after Daggermouth? I can't remember what I read specifically. That was more towards the beginning of the year. That was one of my first reads this year.
Wow.
I would say if you haven't read the Villains of Lore series by Jasmine Mass, Blood of Hercules, Bonds of Hercules, that would be a good one because it's one of my favorite series, and book 3 comes out next year. She just announced it.
That's exciting. I read Silver Elite after, and that was actually probably one of my top 5 books of the year as well.
And did the second one for that come out already? Okay.
Yeah, and that was another one that I thought was going to be a duology, and now there's the third one coming, so... Which, I love that series, so I'm not angry about it. I hope they don't push it much past 3, because I think it'll be a stretch if they do.
It is hard to imagine some books being 3. Like, I don't know if you've read the Shepherd King series, One Dark Window, and that one I think was a perfect duology because it was enough to keep you wanting more, but resolved by the end, and you didn't need anything other than what she gave you. So I just love duologies. I think duologies are some of my favorite reads. Sometimes standalones just aren't enough. You need more.
I'm not going to lie. I was very happy. Did you read The Poisoned Daughter?
Not yet. I have it, though. It's one of my Fairy Loot subscription books.
I was a little disappointed that it's not got a second book, but also I was actually very excited to just read a standalone for once. So
I'll have to read it because I own it. So
I really liked it.
Read most of the books that I own so I can thin out my collection. It's been a daunting, but maybe I'll do that one soon.
But also a fun one, right? Like, it's a fun task.
Oh yeah, always. And that's why, if you haven't read it yet, Hopeless Necromantic. It's a fun little read. I actually really liked the Book of the Month Audible book for that one, or audiobook for that one. They had two narrators, male and a female, and I loved it. It was fun, but it would be fun to read even without the narration. So it's a cute little whimsical, dark romance, fun book that you wouldn't expect to be fun because it's about a necromancer. So who expects that to be whimsical? Not me.
Yeah.
Not expect it.
Yeah. All right, my dear. Well, I'm going to start to close this out here. What is next? What do you think is next? I mean, are you going to just continue the Brandon Sanderson world for now, or are you going to throw something random in there?
That is a good question. Yes, I'm going to continue the Brandon Sanderson universe, but I do want to sprinkle some other things in there. A book I really, really want to read before the end of September. So I have a month and a half. I really want to read Because I Killed Him. I've heard amazing things about that book. I don't think of anything else I have up there that I'm desperate to read. I think that one's my only desperate, I need to read this soon book. Everything else will just be vibes. If something pops up, I'll dive in, but I'm hoping to get through this Brandon Sanderson universe, but I am doing that one on audiobook.
Okay.
So it may be slowed while I wait for my credits to build back up. So I'm going to have to fill it with something.
I know, between that and Spotify, man, I'm I run out, because of the books I read, I run out of listening time on Spotify. I've been trying to do as much Spotify to alleviate my spending on Audible, but I run out because I read books that are massive and they're multiple hours long and they don't give you enough.
Yep.
So
I've never used Spotify, but if they do time limits, that would be rough.
They do have a free version, or I mean the normal subscription is a time limit.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah, because I can listen to 8 or 9 hours in a day when I'm working, just kind of depends. And then it's a great thing to just pop in an earbud while you're laying in bed at night scrolling. You can just listen to some of your book. But yeah, I definitely want to read Because I Killed Him. I think that's going to be another 5-star read for me. a lot of the other books I'm looking forward to aren't out yet. They're not going to be out until next year. So next year is going to be a great book year. I'm very excited, but also don't really want to wait.
Yeah. It's so hard. And then it's like, how do you, like, I was trying to figure out with all these books that are coming out this fall, like, what do I reread or not reread? Like, hopefully, I don't want to have to reread all these series every time before another book comes out. I'm hoping that when you're reading it, they sort of like, it jogs your memory for some of that stuff. Or maybe I'll use ChatGPT for like a synopsis.
Right, because when Brimstone came out last year, I had read Quicksilver, I think 6 or 7 months prior to that. So, a lot of reading happens between then. It was fresh enough to know that I wouldn't have to read it again, but not fresh enough to where I was like 100% on board with what was happening. I had to have some memories come back as I read the book. I was like, oh, okay, yes, that did happen. I remember this now. But yeah, it's tough loving a series that's not complete. Like Shield of Sparrows, when that book comes out next year, I'm like, do I reread both of them? Is there going to be enough? Will I remember it enough? I feel like I will, but I don't know. It's 6 months away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a never ending task, but I also love it. So
It's one that will never get boring. I will never get tired of it.
it's true. It's true. All right, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on here and having this chat with me. This was super fun. We should do it again because this is really fun.
Please. Thanks.
Yeah, and good luck selling all of your books. If anybody needs books, go to Michaela on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, I have lots. They're all special edition pretty books too.
Yep. All right, my dear. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks.